Zombiesaurus is bad. Really bad. And not so bad it's good kind of bad either. I think that the directors were really trying to make a good bad movie with this one, but they ended up just making a product with terrible CGI, awful green screen, mediocre acting, cringe-worthy dialogue, and a story that could have been at least a bit fun, but ended up being predictable and forgettable. To the point where, while writing this script, I needed to go back and rewatch parts of the movie because I legitimately couldn't remember what happened in certain bits. But before I get too deep into the review, let me get introductions out of the way. Hi, I'm Misa, and I love bad movies. And not only do I love watching bad movies, but I love talking about them and getting other people to watch them because I enjoy making people watch the stupid shit that I like. Hence, why I'm making this video. And today, we're talking about Zombiesaurus, also known as Z-Rex, the Jurassic Dead. Hilarious. Honestly, I've been watching bad movies for so long that finding out that a film has two different titles and cover designs is nothing new to me. A lot of the time, movies will change their name to be more marketable. Although, most of the time when this happens, this is so that the cover can trick old people into thinking that the movie is something else, and then they buy it mistakenly. Take, for example, Neil Stryker and the Tyrant of Time. A movie that I reviewed on my old channel, and definitely will revisit at some point because, spoilers, it's one of my favourite bad movies of all time. No exaggeration, I rewatch it constantly. I love this thing. After a while, the movie was renamed to Guardians of the Universe. Yeah, I know, way lamer, right? And had a complete cover change. Obviously, so that people who weren't paying attention when they picked it up at their local Asda would think that it was Guardians of the Galaxy. Whether this actually works is up for debate, but it's a very common tactic for these kinds of movies. The strange thing about Zombiesaurus, though, is that the creators decided to change the name to something that wasn't ripping off another movie. I mean, obviously the original title, Z-Rex Jurassic Dead, is trying to ride off the coattails of Jurassic Park. But Zombiesaurus is just sillier, and it's not necessarily ripping anything off. It's a weird choice, but I respect it. Plus, it sounds way more unique. Like, do you know how many movies have Jurassic in the title? A shit ton. As always with these kinds of movies, the cover is flashy and a complete lie. I always become weary of movie covers that don't show any scenes from the film itself on the back. But this case is pretty egregious. Not only is the movie not set in a city of any kind like it shows on the cover, in fact, the movie takes place mostly inside a facility in the middle of a desert. But the dinosaur in the movie is nowhere near this big. Plus, a cult classic in the making. Excuse me, movieweb.com, did we watch the same film? Zombiesaurus is far from a cult classic. It was clearly trying to be. I could see the attempt at humor and purposeful bad acting and effects, but unfortunately, that's not what makes a bad movie a good bad movie. There are two types of bad movies that work in my eyes. The type that know that they're bad, but they have fun with whatever limitations they have, and they still try to make something entertaining, like The Snarling or Neil Stryker. And the type that don't mean to be bad, but they just objectively are, like The Room or Birdemic. When you know that you're bad, but instead of trying to make something entertaining, you go out of your way to make something almost by the books and dull with bad effects that could have been better, but you chose not to make them better for whatever reason, it doesn't really work. So, what's so bad about Zombiesaurus, and why did I not enjoy it that much? Well, let's get into it. Spoiler warning for the whole movie in case you'll want to check it out. I can't say that I'd necessarily recommend that you do, but, you know, just in case. So, the movie starts out with this deal being made, with what I can only assume are shady crime lords and a scientist. So, the premise of this is already super wacky, but basically, they're trading for this zombie serum that the scientist wants to use on a dinosaur that he just happens to have for some reason. Like, it's not explained how he came across a dead dinosaur, we're supposed to just accept that he has it. And that sets the movie up for being super goofy. But trust me, They did not capitalize on that at all. The deal goes badly and the dinosaur is awoken and goes on a rampage. I do have to say that when I first watched this, I was actually really glad that the dinosaur wasn't just terrible CGI and that they bothered to use practical effects. Like, it's still terrible, but it's better than terrible CGI. At least practical effects can be a little bit charming. So, 1 year after this, the scientist is working as a university professor.
There's a limit in the process of life.
Yeah, you think that the fact this student clearly has a crush on him is gonna be significant? Nope. Who is this girl? No idea. Why does she have a crush on this bold freak? No clue. This is never brought up again. There was no point in showing the audience this scene.
So, what's under the sheet?
The subject matter under the sheet is of feline origin. Brought to me a few weeks ago deceased and has since been frozen in a cryogenic state. Vince, get the doors.
Why does a university professor have access to cryogenic freezing equipment? That cannot be within the university's budget.
They can smell quite badly at times.
I don't know what animal that's supposed to be, but it's not a fucking cat. So he reanimates the cat, which ends up getting him in trouble with the university board.
You wanted to see me, Dean?
And this is where some of the issues really begin to shine, because why the fuck are they green screened in? Could they not have found a hallway to record this scene in? So the scientist gets fired, and when he's leaving... Honestly, this is the only scene in the movie that made me laugh. I like being caught off guard with comedy, so this joke hit, but yeah, the rest of the movie I was completely straight-faced.
During a great time of peril on Earth, a deranged scientist emerged and took control of a secret military bunker deep in the desert.
This narration is a very weird choice, but okay. So this is where we're introduced to our main characters. We have two separate groups, a military group and a car of college kids on a road trip. The military group are pretty forgettable in all honesty. The only two that I remember anything about off the top of my head are this dude, who's a conspiracy theory loving, sexist dickhead who also is implied to be slightly racist, and this dude who's called Duke. And yes, the movie does openly state that it's funny because he looks like Duke Nukem.
Wait, your name is Duke?
I mean, he actually does look a lot like Duke Nukem.
Guys, you've never got that before? You look just like him.
Subtlety is not this movie's strong suit. Other than that, we've got the black dude who has a mask kind of like Ghost from Call of Duty, which made me like him a tad since I'm a massive Ghost simp, and I also have a mask kind of similar to that one. The token strong woman who barely speaks or does anything really throughout the movie until like the last 10 minutes, and the dude who dies pretty early on in the mission. So yeah, pretty compelling characters. The college kids aren't exactly as forgettable as the military group in terms of character, but they're also just archetypes, and are therefore boring. So we have big, beefy, aggro quarterback dude, blonde ditzy woman who is totally not wearing a wig, nerdy kid who smokes weed and codes, and gamer girl who's constantly mentioning video games that she plays to show that she's a true gamer.
It's like military sci-tech. Like Metal Gear Solid.
None of the characters in this movie are interesting or really get any emotions out of me other than cringe or irritation. I don't always hate characters with no, well, real character, but when they have a terrible script like this movie does, it makes it hard to ignore their lack of depth. These guys are all so dull and cliche, and I'm sorry, but their dialogue is cringe as fuck.
Call of Duty. Redneck Rendezvous.
But anyway, the military group pass the college kids, and this arsehole goes to fucking shoot them like a demented serial killer. And then when he stopped, he chucks a drink at their car. Like, dude, what the fuck is your problem? They didn't do anything except drive near you lot. You're supposed to be on a secret mission. You know what an easy way to get caught by the public is? Throwing fucking drinks at their car and trying to shoot them.
He's the quarterback. A quarterback.
Shut up, Sadie.
Third string for the big horned sheep.
Geek bitch. Thought geeks were supposed to be smart and graduate.
The dialogue in this movie is so wince-worthy. So the blonde girl and the gamer girl are sisters, but that's kind of irrelevant to the story, and I wasn't even going to mention it in the script, because they don't act like sisters, and it's not really brought up throughout the movie. I think the only reason that they made them sisters was to justify this group hanging out together, because they definitely wouldn't otherwise. The gamer girl and the nerdy guy hate the quarterback dude, like, with a passion.
And then what happens? Athletics ends. The Rams are screwed. Football ends. Athletics. We're not the Rams, bro. We're the big orange sheep. I'm so sorry, Gunner. Okay, we definitely don't want you to screw the sheep then.
But anyway, the military group are heading to a facility in the middle of the desert, which the scientist is hiding out in with a weapon, which we can all probably guess is the Zombiesaurus. And while everyone is trying to get to where they're going, an EMP hits.
What's going on?
Did they just not see the massive white light? Or... God, the editing in this scene is so over the top. Wait, what did he just shoot? There was nothing in front of them. The college kids end up walking since their car is dead, and we get more amazing dialogue.
Well, what kind of structure was it?
I don't know. Could be bowling alley, casino, Tex-Mex Chainsaw Massacre kind of thing. Really, bro? I mean, that all seems totally probable, right?
And this is when we discover that the quarterback dude has a gun. And again, this is something that's not really that important later on, but whatever.
Yeah, it's my dad. I borrowed it. Okay.
So, I'm not American, obviously, and in the UK, we don't tend to have a lot of guns about. Unless you live in Birmingham, but I'm pretty sure that you shouldn't just borrow someone else's gun like that. Americans in my audience, that's not something that people do regularly, is it? Because surely that can't be safe.
Oh my god, is that a vulture? Oh!
Come on!
Why the fuck is the safety off? Again, I'm not even American, and I know that you shouldn't walk around with a loaded gun with the safety off.
Wait, I see something.
Let me see.
How did you guys not see that building before? So I guess because there aren't any other buildings nearby, and these lot don't have a working phone or transport, they head towards the building that the military group are also heading towards. And I have to say that the fact that the majority of the time they're in this building, they're in front of a green screen is super, super distracting. Like, I get not having a set to film the movie in, but why make a movie if you don't even have the capacity to at least make the backgrounds look real? It's not funny to have a bad green screen. The Amazing Bulk proved that. It's just really annoying to look at. But, moving on. The group head inside and are sprayed with what is later described as zombie gas.
What are you doing? What? It's hot. It'll filter it out.
What are you talking about?
I'm not breathing that smoke in.
You guys talking means that you're breathing it in your donuts. So, one of the military guys gets infected. Jesus, the zombie effects were better in the snarling. And he ends up scaring the college kids.
Why did you do that?
Dude, shoot him in the head. What are you doing? He is a zombie. He is very clearly a zombie. Shoot him in the head. Why is it in all of these movies with zombies, people never aim for the head initially? The two groups bump into each other and decide to keep going together, which is a really confusing decision to me, because why would the military not escort these civilians out of the building? It's clearly dangerous in there. Get them to safety, the fuck? So we finally get to see what the scientist looks like now.
A meteorite has hit. Just as I said it would.
Oh. He's just Bane. And the zombie dinosaur comes back. Oh, of course they went to using bad CGI. So Duke goes to fight the thing and he puts his gun down in favor of punching the dinosaur. That's a sentence that I just said out loud. This is so stupid, because if you know anything about reptiles, let alone dinosaurs, you know that punching one is not something that is likely to result in anything other than a broken hand.
Did you see that? Alright, that was pretty gangster. You just knocked him out, gangster. You just knocked him out!
So Duke kills the zombie dude pretty easily. And the quarterback dude and the insufferable dickhead sit and bond a little over food and conspiracy theories.
Robert E. Lee ain't my daddy. You've heard of 9/11, right?
I have heard of that one, yeah.
Well, there you go. It's a false flag.
What's a false flag?
It's a deception.
This guy would have definitely voted for the orange man when the quarterback dude gets got and the other dude runs. Fucking hell, the green screen is so atrocious. I know I keep bringing it up, but why the fuck did they think this was a good idea? So, like an absolute idiot, the girl with the horrendous wig doesn't notice that her boyfriend is an obvious zombie and goes to hug him when the black dude does the objectively correct thing and guns him down. And she does the typical, "No, I love him, I'm not leaving him" thing, when... But in all the commotion, Duke gets scratched and decides to just not tell anyone? Like, I'm sorry, you guys know what zombies are. Call of Duty exists in this universe, so why the fuck would you ever get scratched or bit and just not tell anybody? You know what's gonna happen to you. You're just putting your colleagues in danger for no reason.
This place is like a puzzle room.
It's a game.
Exactly.
She really doesn't seem too bothered that her sister's dead. This is what I meant earlier. Them being sisters doesn't do anything for the story. They barely interact in any meaningful way, and they don't seem concerned about each other at all. But anyway, Duke attacks the dickhead and gets the nerdy guy killed. This kind of shows me that the zombies are more like rage virus zombies from the 28 series. Because why is he punching him rather than biting him? This laughing scene is going on for way too long. While this is happening, the rest of the gang discover that the scientist has somehow planted bombs all over the planet. No idea how we managed to do that, but whatever. And these idiots managed to detonate a smaller bomb in the room that they're stuck in because the black dude decides that it would be an amazing idea to just pull a random wire out from the machinery. Yeah, this is what I meant when I said that this dude was implied to be racist, because yikes. That's, what the kids like to say, not a good look. The scientist guy wanders around and ends up being murdered by the dinosaur, which really shows how little he thought this plan through, because how are you gonna wander around your facility with a bloodthirsty, zombified, prehistoric creature that you have no way of controlling and expect nothing bad to happen? The remaining group managed to find a military van and finally get rid of Duke in what I can only describe as the worst shooting scene I have ever had to sit through. They also narrowly escape the building exploding, and the planet essentially gets destroyed. But not really, because there's an after-credit scene that completely negates this scene.
As the world ends, I claim victory. I may have perished as flesh, but I live on.
Oh, shut up, dude. What are you even saying? And it's also revealed that the remaining characters are... zombies? Wait, what? When did that happen?
I feel good. You know, I've got the munchies.
And they're talking and seem fine? They just seem a little bit giddy? I don't understand why they're zombies. No one got bit. No one got scratched. None of them inhaled the zombie gas. They escaped and the dinosaur got blown up. What?
Shut up!
Wait. Did they go back to the facility and decapitate the dinosaur? Why? But if you were waiting all this time for me to compliment the movie, here is the only compliment I'm going to give it. The end credits are initially actually kind of cool. As an artist, I really like the comic book aesthetic here. It makes it kind of fun and funky, and the end credits song isn't the worst song I've ever heard. But then they just start freezing random frames of the movie, and the credits are kind of ruined. Well done, movie, you managed to do something right, and you ruined it. And finally, we get a Marvel after credit scene, because we are all totally not sick of them. So when the credits are over, it's shown that the black dude stole the work of the scientist and wrote a book using the contents of that work. Keeping in mind, we never saw him take this shit during the film, so I don't really get it, but whatever. And he's being interviewed on the news, meaning that the world is fine? Like, they must have rebuilt the planet or something, because we saw it get bombed and the electricity going out, but whatever. And then, because he's, you know, a zombie, he attacks the news anchor.
Hope you enjoyed the show. I'm Kara O'Knightly, and
Keep your head on your shoulders.
So I've got no idea what kind of zombies these guys are supposed to be, but whatever, that's Zombiesaurus. Listen, I wanted to like this. I like zombie movies a lot, and I may not be the biggest fan of dinosaur movies, but the idea of a zombie dinosaur is pretty funny. But the dinosaur being a zombie was barely even utilized throughout the movie. He turned like one dude, and that's it. You could have had a movie where the military were trying to hunt down a scientist and he released a dinosaur, or you could have had a movie where the military are trying to hunt down a scientist and he has zombie gas. But I don't really see the point in combining the two. The fact that the dinosaur was a zombie wasn't really relevant. And the thing is, dinosaurs are already pretty scary creatures to think about. Like, here's a little secret about me. I am terrified of alligators. They're fast as fuck, and their teeth are strong as fuck. And they can sneak up on you, and if they get their sights on you, that's it, you're fucked. And that is terrifying to think about. And a dinosaur is basically just a massive alligator. And they're really easy to make scary. But this movie managed to make the dinosaur the least interesting part of the film. And the bar wasn't really high, because there's barely anything interesting about the movie. The script was awful, the constant terrible green screen and CGI was distracting as fuck, the acting was basic, the story was dull, and even the Zombiesaurus was boring. In terms of ranking, this is definitely not bad enough to go into 0 out of 10 we'll never watch again. Like, I'm not gonna watch it again, but I don't think it's as bad as Piglet or House Shark. But the director really didn't try, so it's going in, well, you really didn't try. I don't hate this movie like I do Piglet, and it didn't bore me to death like House Shark, but this is definitely not a good, bad movie by any means. Like, I don't even think alcohol could save this one, guys. Like, this DVD, this is going to the charity shop. I would put it on Vinted, but I don't think anyone will take it. If you disagree with my ranking, then you can let me know in the comments. And also, if you have any other bad movies in mind that you'd like to see me review, then also let me know down below. Or you can tweet at me. The links to my Twitter/X and Blue Sky accounts, as well as my Letterboxd, are in the description below. And for generous people who would like to support me making these videos, my Ko-Fi and my Patreon are also in the description. Also, I do art commissions. I haven't mentioned this previously, but yeah, I draw. The avatar that you're seeing now, I drew myself. So if you'd like a commission and you like this art style, then you can DM me on Twitter and let me know. Or if you don't have Twitter and you want to use Blue Sky, you can also DM me on there. My DMs are open. And speaking of generous people, thank you to my amazing patrons, Rob Slide and Fox. You're both awesome. Thank you for supporting me in making this content. But anyway, thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!